I shall be very glad to answer any questions. Yes.
Okay, you said that something on the order of taking the master and only thinking of him as everything else in the world is gone. Where does your mate come into this? I mean, if you're only concentrating on the master and you don't see anything else, where does not only your mate but the love of other people come in if you don't see it?
When you see the real master's form is a universal form within you. He brings you back to the real form within you, and you see him in everybody. You love everybody like you have never loved before. A state comes, if you see your master and fall in love with him, you see him in every living thing outside. And you love it even if they hate you. Then you can truly, naturally practice that if somebody hits you on one cheek, you turn the other also. Naturally. Don't forget that the master's real form is within you. The external physical form of the master is a device to bring you back to the real form. Practice that if somebody hits you on one cheek, you turn the other also. Naturally. If we could look at the master within, we don't have to look at anybody outside, but we can't. Our attention is flowing outside. Therefore, the master takes on a human form, comes outside, attracts us outside, makes us feel that nothing else matters, and pushes us back into our own head and shows us his real self. And when we see that real self, then when we look at this world, we see him everywhere and we fall in love with everything.
Okay, now you're saying that but when you're meditating, you see yourself with your eyes closed. What happens after that point?
If you are initiated, you see your master in his real form.
And if you're not initiated?
If you are not initiated, then you see the astral world and see the reality of the world other than this world. To make further progress beyond this point, you need a living master. But just to validate whether this world exists or not, you can concentrate your attention, become unaware of this body and the world, and know that this is not the real world. Up to that point, one can reach on one's own. Beyond that, one reaches with the master.
Okay, you have to be initiated in every lifetime.
Why should there be every lifetime?
That's what I'm asking you.
If you are initiated by a master, why should you get back into this cycle of birth and rebirth again?
Then how do you know if you've been initiated in a previous lifetime then?
By remembering it. But till you go in and remember and know it within, you can't know.
And that's by going with your eyes closed, seeing yourself, and seeing what happens with you when you're up there.
That's right. Yes.
Do you have an experience of pleasure on both levels? I don't know what they even call levels, but I mean, do you have pleasure on the acting level as well as
Yes.
watching the acting
Yes.
level?
Both levels.
And you can tell the difference.
You can. The relationship between pleasure and pain is such that at this level there is more pain and less pleasure. There is more pleasure, less pain, but the relationship is there. There's still pleasure and pain. The so-called astral level is not free from the pairs of opposites. It is still in a world of opposites that we live. As you know, in the physical world, we cannot experience anything except through its opposite. Supposing we had pleasure all the time, day and night, sleeping or awake, we would never know pleasure. Supposing this light which we can see was certain amount of light was seen by us all the time, day and night, whether we close our eyes or open our eyes, we won't see that light. We only see light when we have seen darkness. Then it becomes light. We only see pleasure when we have seen pain. This experience here at physical level occurs in pairs of opposites. That is why this world is called the world of pairs of opposites. Even the astral world above is a world of pair of opposites. Even the causal world is a world of pair of opposites. Only when you reach the pure spiritual region where you are yourself, and not the mind or the body or the senses, you transcend the world of pairs of opposites, and then you have what is called joy rather than pleasure. It's quite distinct. It is not even happiness, which is the opposite of unhappiness. It's a kind of joy that is self-sustaining and does not belong to a pair.
Are there degrees of joy then?
There are degrees of joy. And if that can be counted an opposite, I don't know. Yes?
Could you tell us more how and when you reached this level of joy?
How I reached this level?
Like you're telling us how we can do it. How did you?
How do you know I reached any level? I may just be telling stories of hearsay.
No,
I do know that I was very fortunate to have a living master. He taught me a lot of things. And what I tell you here is what I learned from my living master. So I teach like a parrot. You know what a parrot does? Whatever he listens, he speaks out. So whatever I listen, I speak out.
when did that start?
Started 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
That's when you found your living master.
I found him earlier. I found him 45 years ago. I was initiated 45 years.
You're not that old.
I'm much older than that.
I think, in other words, you've always done it. In this incarnation.
I don't know, there are certain advantages which start accruing to you even when you start in the beginning of this path. Before you have reached any higher regions, higher levels of consciousness, certain changes start taking place in you. You get less mad. You begin to feel more happy, more confident. Things begin to turn up, show up better. So other changes start taking place to build up faith, confidence, and trust in the words of the Master. So all that starts much earlier. If that is counted as progress, then the progress starts much earlier. You don't have to really reach the highest level of awareness to feel good. You start feeling good much sooner after contact with the living Master. But when you go above this physical region, then you get very certain knowledge. Then your doubts are removed. Then you don't ask questions. That happens when you go above this level. It's not a matter of time. Some people I know, they get results very fast. Some struggle longer. The main difference between those who get quick results and those who struggle longer are the ones struggling longer are thinking too much and thereby creating too many doubts which they have to resolve. When doubts are created by the mind, then they have to be resolved before you make progress. When they ask questions, till they are satisfied, they get stuck at a point. Those who have faith, they say, yes, that's it, we found it. They don't ask questions, then they have a quicker journey ahead. I'm not suggesting that they are better off, because sometimes these people who have no questions and no intellect, and they just have faith and go in, if an unfortunate incident takes place, they fall down also equally rapidly. But those who have intellect, which they have used for a long time to satisfy themselves, once they are satisfied, they don't fall down that rapidly, whatever happens. There's an advantage in this questioning. If you have questions, if your mind is putting questions, you must get the questions answered in this path. You can't brush them aside. You can't say, now, mind will keep on asking questions, let me put it aside and go ahead. You can't go ahead. It is better to get the answers to your questions. So satisfy your intellect, satisfy your mind, feed it with all the data it wants, tire it out. Then proceed further. In this game of love, the masters play with us. They give us a lot of grace. They give us a lot of things we don't deserve. Even when we haven't made enough progress and we know we haven't done enough of our homework, they still give us some results to keep us going. So it depends, because after all, it is not a mechanical process. Higher awareness is coming to us through love. Love is given to us by the Master. We feel we are loving the Master, we can't. There's a Persian mystic who said in his Persian couplet, one of the songs, Ishq awwal dar dile mashuk paida mishavad, which means love was first born in the heart of the beloved. The lover thinks he is loving, but if nothing happens at the other end, he can't love. Therefore, the first sign comes from the other end. If the Master does not cast that grace and smile on us, we can't love. But we feel we are in a state of love and devotion. It starts from the Lord. He attracts us. Then when we are attracted, we feel we are in love. A lot depends on the grace of the Lord. Yes?
When you say the Lord, what reference is that? I mean, like first time you refer to the Lord as Jesus.
Same reference. Whatever is your concept of God, or even the Son of God, or the Creator, or anyone who is one with God, I refer to as Lord. Because as I said in the beginning, what I am saying is not a religion. All religions say the same thing. My study of religions has shown that all religions say the same thing. That's why I got a little late at the breakfast appointment this morning. I was seeing that interview with that Chicago Sun-Times reporter. What's his name? Tom Ryoko, somebody. He is a sarcastic writer in the Chicago Sun-Times. And they read out on television this morning a letter he has written to God. And he says, my dear God, he addresses God, address, care of post office box number any, universal post office, etc. Then he says, my dear God, you are a very popular guy out on this earth. A lot of people remember you. Take the case of Northern Ireland particularly. All the Protestants are remembering you in your name. They are killing all the Catholics. The Catholics also, for your sake and as your agents, are killing them. In Iran, they call you by different name, but they say under your instructions, they have put a lot of people to execution, and millions of gallons of blood has flown, all for your sake. In Beirut, this has happened. See Lebanon. And he goes on to describe how all that is happening in the name of God. People are taking the name of God and saying, we are doing it for God's sake. We are doing it. They're all killing each other. And God, please don't tell them that you belong to one party or the other. They might come and attack you, but thank God they have not yet found any weapon which can reach you. In a sarcastic letter like this. But the number of instances he quoted were amazing. How we are all saying there is one God. By giving different names to the God, to that one God, we are killing each other. We are doing everything that the sons of God have told us not to do. In the name of God. So I am using this word Lord or God or total consciousness or highest power or creative power or creator. Whatever you like to call it. You give it a scientific terminology, you give it, I can say totality. All right, what does it mean? In a mathematical sense. Totality of experience. Everything put together. That is the attribute we have given to God. It can't be anybody else. Can't be anything else. You call it by any name. We are referring to the same power. And what I am suggesting is that if you are born in a particular religion and are following that religion, and the mind is conditioned because of that religion, you don't want to let go of it. All right, don't let go of it. But you follow what that religion says in practice, not in ritual. Ritual is one thing, but when all religions say that this is the kingdom of God within us, all religions. I don't know any religion that doesn't say this. Search within the body. Instead of looking out with two eyes, get back to one eye at the back. If thy eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. It's not only in the Bible, it's in every religion. This very body. Why don't we do it? My question is, what the original founders of religion, the original masters, they said when they walked upon this earth, why don't we do it? My call is not to change religion, to look for cults, go and find any group, or go and find a group leader. Certainly not. If you have found a teacher, fine. If you haven't found, find one. If you have understood the teachings, practice them. If you haven't understood, understand them. But the teachings are all same. They say the truth lies within you. When you go within, you will find the truth. That's what the basic teachings are. Why not go within? Who goes within? To go within, we are searching outside. We go from place to place to find out what is the meaning of within. Therefore, it is not that we are tied down by any religious beliefs, any other beliefs, and therefore we can't practice knowing ourselves. Which religion says don't find yourself? None whatsoever. They all say the same thing, but we don't practice what we read. That is the only problem. We think by reading alone we are getting salvation. This is another mistake. If all the holy scriptures and books say, go within and you will find, knock and it shall open. If we all say that, and we don't knock, and we don't go within, and we keep on reading this, knock and it shall open, knock and it shall open, it won't open. But that's what we are doing. You see how much emphasis there is on reading, and thereby feeling that we have done a job, we have done our duty. If you want to have a vacation and make a trip, You can read the guidebooks and the time schedules of the airlines to that place 100 times over, you won't go there. But we are doing precisely that. These are teachings recorded which show what happens when you realize yourself within. What is it to have God realization? What is it to live with the living Lord within? It speaks of the living Lord within. What it means and how to do it. It says all those things. All the scriptures say that. We don't follow them. We follow what suits our mind. We pick up that, misinterpret it to suit the lifestyle we have adopted. The mind takes us away. The mind is the devil. We are all cautioned against the negative power of the devil. Don't be taken in. And we are using that agent of the devil, our own mind. There is no difference between the mind and the devil. Please remember this. Where is the devil? Except in our minds. And we are listening to the devil all the time, interpreting the scripture, the word of God through the devil. We expect results. We were supposed to take care of this devil. Keep him aside. If we keep him aside, we are automatically with the Lord. We don't have to go anywhere. But we have been duping ourselves through the mind and taking the mind as our God. The mind has become so powerful, whatever the mind wants to do, we are doing. I remember the story of Aladdin all the time when I think of the mind. Have you heard of Aladdin and the lamp? He had a magic lamp. When he rubbed, a genie used to appear. You heard of that story? So Aladdin rubbed the lamp and a huge genie appeared. And the genie said, Aladdin, I am your slave. Command what I shall do. Aladdin, little child, was so frightened. Big, frightening monster has come out, but he says he is the slave, the servant. So Aladdin said, please go and do something outside. Go and build a house outside and come back. And the genie went out. He was so powerful, magical genie. Within a few moments, he built the house and came back and said, Aladdin, I built the house. Command what I shall do next. He said, all right, go and build a bridge on the sea. And he went and built a bridge on the sea and came back and said, Aladdin, I built the bridge. Tell me what I shall do. He was doing things so fast. Soon Aladdin lost any more questions, orders, commands. He said, all right, do what you like. So genie said, all right, then you come with me. We'll go there. So instead of Aladdin giving commands to the genie began to take all around. Ultimately, a friend of Aladdin said, you used to be very happy. You found such a great genie with you. Well, how come you are unhappy? He says, I am unhappy because wherever the genie says I have to go. I have run out of commands. And that friend said, well, look, I'll give you a solution to your problem. Next time the genie says, Aladdin, command what I shall do. You say, all right, get a pole, a wooden pole from the garden and dig it into this room, in the center of the room. And when he says, I have dug the pole here, command what I shall do, tell the genie, go up and down this pole, up and down the pole till I tell you the next command. When you need the genie, give him a command. Let him do the work. When he's over and comes to you, say, go up and down this pole. That's the way you handle it. In this story, we are Aladdin. The genie is our mind. We have been given this powerful mind to use. The mind is supposed to be our slave and servant. We have run out of command. It works so fast. The mind, which was taking instructions from us, is now giving us instructions. And what the mind wants, we are led by the mind. We have run out of instructions. Therefore, these mystics say that when the mind is taking you away to all these places and says, now what shall I do next? You tell the mind, come and dig a little pole of meditation here, behind the eyes. Repeat some words, give some mantram to the mind. And that is going up and down the pole. Go on repeating. When you need to use the mind, use it. When it's finished, put it back on the pole, up and down. Just a way to describe how powerful this mind has become, taken control of us, and we have to reverse the situation. The mind is a very bad master, a very good servant if you use it properly. Very good. That is why the mind, when not in control, creates the biggest mischief for us. It's the devil. The mind, when in control, is the best servant. All our mystical practices here are to take care of the mind, control it, and not be led by it. Today we are being led by it. Yes.
How is it that we can go back into past lives, and how is it that we can progress in
There is a wonderful device given to consciousness called memory. Memory is not really remembering what happened. Memory creates what looks like having happened. Memory functions in the now. Nothing else functions in the now except memory. How do you know the past? How do you know I just spoke to you? Memory. If we don't have memory, we can't know the past, and everything is past. Therefore, it is the function of consciousness in the now to get through memory a created past. And if once you can create past of one moment also, you can create past of several lives. The reality is in a one single timeless moment of now, which we have lost touch with. We are in the illusion that there is a past. The illusion is being created by our memory. This is a little tough one. How there is no time, because now is the only period we can act on. We can't do a thing in the past or the future. Future hasn't come, past has gone. Now is the only moment when we can act or do anything or think, live, and now has no time. So where do we live? Now doesn't have even a second. No time at all. Not even the smallest fraction of a second. There's no time in now. It's a timeless moment. Our entire life is in a timeless moment and looks like it is in time. What makes it look like it is in time? Memory. We remember, oh, this happened yesterday. It happened earlier. Today we did this. Yes. We are creating a memory, a stream of memory in the now, which is timeless. But this reality comes to us when we rise. Then we can see the reality of now. At this time, now is not visible to us. The immediate past looks like now. I've just spoken a few words to you, they look like now. The moment I spoke those words, they went into the past. Before I spoke, they were in the future. They never stopped at a now. Not even for a second. They never stopped in time. And yet it looks that we have so many seconds it took, so many minutes it took. Where did it take? Where did you get this time from? When we can do nothing in the past, we can do nothing in the future, we can only do in the present, and present has no time whatsoever. Where do you get the time from? Where do these watches take up from? Illusion. Illusion created by an artificial device called memory. The illusion of memory is, the memory is creating a sequence, but we think it has happened and we are remembering it. That is the illusion. This is a little tough metaphysics. How? The causal direction is different. Memory does not pick up what has happened. Memory creates what looks like what has happened. It's the same kind of illusion. These eyes that look out do not see what is there. By the process of seeing, they create what looks like it is there. All the world is being created on this basis. And we are in illusion that the world is real, and we are therefore seeing it, experiencing it. The fact is, we are real. Consciousness alone is real. And single consciousness is never divided, which is the God, totality, that looks like individual in us. And that consciousness projects into experience and creates its experience, and we begin to think that experience is real and we are getting it back. That is the illusion. Once we wake up from this, we create a dream the same way. If we don't know how we are doing it, we can remember because dreams we have all had. We go to sleep, we create a world and move around, it's not there. Actually, we are not going into a world and dreaming. We create the dream from our own mind. We create a world in which we create a separate body for ourselves, move around in the dream world. When we wake up, the whole world disappears. When we wake up, only we find out that we created that world. While we are dreaming, we think it is real. The same thing is true of this world. The same thing is true of all worlds. Consciousness creates them in a timeless now. But even time we create, the illusion of time, that things happened in so much time, they took so much time. It's a very grand illusion. It is such a grand illusion. It's a perfect illusion. Nobody can improve upon it. It may not be a perfect world. It's an imperfect world created through a perfect illusion. The imperfection of this world is part of the perfection of creation. Why? Because of the imperfection of this illusion, we are driven to find the perfection of the reality. If there was no imperfection here, we would never find reality. Nobody would know reality. People seek reality because of the imperfection of this world. To seek perfection of reality. We won't seek otherwise.
Why did we ever?
It's difficult to express because we weren't there when it all happened. When we say, why are we here? When we were not here, we were not there anywhere. Only Lord was here. If the Lord decided to take on an experience of we, if one wanted an experience of the many and created an illusion of the many cannot question why he did that. Because the many weren't there in reality. If we had real existence separately, if we were all real separate things, we could question, why are we here? If our reality is only one, and we are not separate, we are in fact one, we are in truth one, how do we question this? This is not a real question. We are in truth one. We have never been broken up. Illusion creates this feeling that we are separate. And this illusion was created because of the oneness of the Creator. You imagine you are a creator. Let us put it to your human consciousness. You are a creator and you are alone and one. There is nothing else. What would you do? You will create more. Just to sustain yourself as a creator, you will create. If you are conscious, just to sustain consciousness, you will be conscious of something. Whatever you are conscious of will become creation. That's what's happening. There's nothing more than that. Reality continues to be one. We have not moved anywhere in reality. The Creator has not dissipated himself in reality. He has not cut himself up in reality. He has not made himself into small beings in reality. He has created the illusion in his oneness of the man. And this is the illusion. He is watching. What looks like us watching from within, asking this question, is He. Nobody else has consciousness except the Lord. And He is within us. And He functions within us, which makes us conscious. We are not separate, we are one. In the dream, when you go to sleep and have dream and meet 10 people, they all talk differently. But they are not different. When you wake up, they were all created by you, one. Your one consciousness created all those people in a dream. When you have a dream and you meet some guy whom you don't like, and he fights with you, argues with you, and hits you, how can that be yourself? You argue. In a dream, you can't accept. If another guy in the dream told you, that guy who's fighting with you is you. You are not two, you are one. You say, how can that be? He wouldn't fight with me if he was one. He is completely opposed to me. When you wake up, you find you in the dream, that other guy who fought with you in the dream, and the third one who said, he is you. All three were part of you. You created all of them. Why did you create a guy in a dream who should fight with you? Why did you hit him back in the dream? Maybe because there is that real guy in this world. In a real world, there may be a guy like that. You couldn't hit him here. So you went into dream and took it out on him in the dream and hit him back there. Therefore, there was a prior experience in this world or maybe in a previous dream that kept that impression on your mind and created the new dream sequence. This is called the law of karma. This world experience we are having is similarly created by mental impressions carried from previous experiences. None is real, but looks like real. So the pattern is set by previous experiences. All the same experiences of relationships, mother, father, brother, sister, husband, wife, children, boss, employee, friend, society, world, food, buildings, all this experience of past impressions recreates a world for us again. And what we did there and could not do, the desires unfulfilled and fulfilled, they all set the pattern on our mind, the sanskar, and that creates the pattern of our new world again on birth. That is how it is working. Very grand but perfect illusion. Yes.
For explain the reflection of the moon into the water. Or would you say?
You already know it.
But I like to hear it.
You like to hear reflection of the moon? I was trying to give an example of how the reality of our own soul within, which is one shining substance in us, full of knowledge, full of total awareness, not bothered about anything, no worry, full of love, full of oneness, which is our reality in each one of us, how that, when it is brought into mind, senses and body, looks so different. And I gave an example. Supposing in our reality we are like the full moon in the sky, and we want to see the sky. That means now in our bodies we want to see our reality. We are looking in the wrong direction. The reality is within, we are looking outside. First mistake. In this simile which I give, I say the moon is up in the sky but we are looking down for the moon. That's the mistake. But we can see the moon down by reflection in a pool. So we go to a pool of water and we want to look for the moon, but the moon is at a certain angle and we can't see it. So there is a mirror lying there on one side, one of those mirrors which can be moved on a table. You can adjust it. If a tall person comes, he adjusts it. If a short person comes, adjusts it. And when one wants to see the shoes in India, when a lady wants to tie the sari, she puts it down and watches the bottom of the sari. When the man wants to put on his tie, he has to turn the mirror. They move like this. A mirror like this on a table is placed on the side of the moon, on the pool. And some boy there is just playing with the mirror, turning it up. Ultimately, with the reflection of the moon in the mirror, it comes into the pool and we see, there's the moon. The moon is moving. In the sky, the moon is not moving. It's just still at one place. Here it's going on doing like this. Why is it doing like this? Because we are moving the mirror. The mirror is a reflector of the moon. The moon does not move, but even if the reflector moves, the moon begins to look like moving in the pool. Then somebody throws a little pebble into the pool and the water breaks up into little tiny waves, and we say, oh, the moon is all broken up into pieces. The moon is intact in the sky. It's also intact in the mirror. But in the water, because of the medium, the reflector, which is the water, that has got those little waves and ripples. Therefore, the moon looks like it's broken into pieces. If somebody comes and really shoves the water and brings the dirt, which is at the bottom of the pool, up, the moon is no longer visible. And we say the moon has gone away. The moon has not gone anywhere, it's still up there. Exactly at the same place, but we can't see it because of the dirt we have brought up in the water. In this example, I was saying that the moon is our real spirit which shines bright. The mind is the reflector, the mirror, which gives movement to it. The senses are the ripples on the water, which break it up into seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, hearing, separate. It's not really separate, necessary to know reality, but the senses make it look separate. And the body, physical body, is bringing the dirt up, so we can't even see it. When we are using the physical body, we don't see ourselves at all. We are so clouded. When we still the body, that means become unaware of it. We still the body, or we still the water, and let the dirt settle down. Let this body settle down. Let the dirt of the body settle down. We can see the moon, the light again, still in ripples. When the water is stilled, that means the senses are stilled. We are not driven by the restlessness of the eyes, ears, nose, throat, etc., by the senses. Then the moon becomes whole, but still movement is there. Here, there. When we still that mirror, the mind, and we still our mind, then we can see our own shining self through these reflections exactly as we are, though we are still looking in the other direction. From the body, without leaving any of these things, by stilling or quieting, making quiet this body, senses and mind, we can see ourselves. That is what mystical practice is about. And that's what Reed wanted me to give an example. Yes. What you're not asking anything. You are just expressing the difficulty of knowing what your mind is doing, which is true. I agree with you. It's very hard to know what the mind is doing, which only shows the mind is a very tricky business. It is. The mind does such funny things, sometimes one gets surprised. Religion teaches us humility. Why does religion? All religions. I'm not talking about any particular religion. All teach humility. I suppose you know no religion teaches us egoism. They all say you should be humble. Then only you can realize. Unless you are like little children, you can't go to the kingdom of God. All religions say the same thing. You have to be very humble. Why? Because they realize that ego, the forefront of the mind, is the trouble spot. Humility will take you away from that ego. But how do we practice humility? Humility we practice not the way it was taught. The teaching was humility comes by love. In love the I disappears and you are humble. That is the teaching. You can see it. We say, no, humility is a good thing, so we take up a pretense. We take up a hypocritical position. I am very humble. I am the smallest of the small. I am nobody. When a person says, I am the smallest of the small, I am nobody, he knows it's nice to be nobody. It's an expression of one's own ego and haughtiness. What a trick. If a person says, I am a big guy, that is also ego and vanity. Not so bad, because people will tell him you are not so big. But when a person says, I am very small, it's a subtle vanity. Neither he nor other people will know whether he is vain or not. So mind plays a lot of tricks. We can't be sure what the mind is doing. Another very good reason for not relying on our mind, but relying on a perfect master who has transcended the mind and at least can answer us. Am I being tricked by my mind or not? He can at least tell us. Of course, I am assuming that we are certain that we have a perfect master. There again we can make a mistake with the mind. Assuming that we have a perfect master. It's only in those conditions that we at least have a checkpoint. We have a focal point. We can resolve our doubts. We can keep our mind away. We can have love. We can get over the mind. The great advantage of a living master.
How do you know? How do you know whether you have a living master or not?
First of all, if he is a living master, he should find you.
He'll find you.
Naturally, how can you find him? If you could find a living master, you don't need one. If we have an ability to go and find a living master, we don't need one. If we have such good eyes to see, therefore we can't see. Supposing there is a group of blind people in a room and one person with eyes comes in there. He can see. The others can't see. The others, the word goes around That one person with eyes who can see has come. Now for those blind people, he's the master. They all say, now we know he's around us and we are going to search for him and find. And they all start groping around, looking for the one with eyes. They say, I'm going to find. What is the guy with the eyes doing at that time? He's watching them. He's got eyes, he can watch what they are doing. When he finds this particular guy has gone round and round across the wall trying to find me, he takes pity, compassion on him. He says, this guy has really shown his earnestness, his seeking. He is really sincere about finding me. So he stands in front of him on his next round. And this man going around, I am going to find him, catches his hand. I found him. He still says, I found him. Can he find him? The assumption would be wrong. Then the assumption is not that we are blind and he is seeing. If we are blind and he is seeing, he can find us, not we. The truth is that he finds us, but we still claim we have found him. Because we can't see how he finds us. In India, of course, we say, when the chela is ready, the guru appears. When the disciple is ready, the master appears. When the seeker is ready, the teacher appears. Therefore, they emphasize on the readiness. That means how much you have done to yearn for the Lord